I'm ready now.
Coming to you from the Radio for One studios in Franklin, Michigan. Welcome to the Detroit Cast.
Big fan. Big fan.
A show not just free of charge, but free of FCC regulations.
And what can we expect?
Surprises!
Engineered by Jay Timko and produced by Eric Beatty. And without further delay, it's showtime! Please welcome the Detroit Cast. Here are your hosts, Mike and Jay.
Get away from the door, nigga.
Hello, everybody. Jay here. Got Eric to my right, Timko to my left. Walters is not with us on a Friday edition of the show. He was going to try to hustle to get back, but I know he has his bro's wedding this weekend, so we just said, don't kill yourself, and we'll finish up the week. So here we are. The good news is, obviously, though, is Mike is going to be back on the show on Monday, which we all can't wait for. But in the meantime, we have a big show today. It's a big one. It's a big one, Eric.
Better be, with all that hype.
I know. We're going to start, well, we're going to get into a lot of the trials that we've been talking about recently. Well, some of the true crime, I guess we'd call it. It's obviously a huge day in MLB with the trade deadline. We're not going to talk a ton of sports, but we do have to hit on a huge trade that happened for the Tigers, obviously. We'll touch on some sports technology advancements that are kind of interesting. The jogger mauling case, the soccer referee, the unfortunate killing there, and maybe get into some Eric comedy. I don't know. We'll see as we go. But let's start out with the April Millsap case. This is the young 14-year-old whose body was found in a drainage ditch by a walking trail on July 24th. And this is the young girl whose dog kind of led others to her body. She was found off the trail, like I said. And one of the craziest facts of the story is that she had texted her boyfriend right before, OMG, I think I'm being kidnapped, or I think I'm being abducted, which is just a flippin' crazy fact.
Funny that she would put OMG.
Right. Well,
no. Well, time was of the essence.
14-year-old girl, that's how they talk, right? And that's how you talk, too. But
I know.
Yeah, so she's... The big part of the story here is that they've executed search warrants in a nearby town of Wales, I guess it is. Not real familiar with that area, but apparently within 15 or 20 miles of where the body was found. They executed search warrants at a home of a known registered sex offender, and a neighbor says that one of the residents at the home is being, or had this blue and white motorcycle that I guess they've been looking for. Remember, they said that they wanted to speak to anybody who was on a motorcycle on the trail. They were looking for a gray box van with a couple guys in it.
Right.
So it looks like they've isolated perhaps down to this house with the motorcycle. We know that they've taken a couple of guys into custody, at least at the time of this taping. This is obviously a story that's going to break, if it hasn't already, concerning an arrest, or over the weekend. It sounds like it will. But they're honing in on a couple guys. In fact, they have taken 2 into custody, as I said, but it looks like they're not being charged with the murder yet, but they're being charged with having an illegal marijuana growing operation. So it's like they execute the search warrant, they find illegal stuff, and it's a way of kind of holding them until they decide to bring the other charges. But like we said, there's a 66-year-old guy who the house is registered to, who's a registered sex offender. So it sounds like they might be onto something there, but we'll have to watch and see. So another local story that we've been talking about is certainly the Port shooter case, which is this Theodore Wafer guy in Dearborn who unfortunately pulled the trigger on Renisha McBride, the young girl who was indisputably drunk the night that she came to his door and was apparently knocking on the door, the windows, he claims, making quite a ruckus, which scared him. He went to the door with a shotgun and one shot to the face killed Renisha. So he's being tried for second-degree murder, and the defense is putting on its case. Currently, they called their expert, the former Wayne County medical examiner, Spitz. We all know Werner Spitz. He's one of these preeminent pathologist guys. I think he was involved in the Kevorkian cases. Casey Anthony, he was involved in that trial. Also the O.J. civil trial. So this is for sure a prominent guy. I'm sure they spent a lot of money to have this guy on the stand. And a couple things that he testified today or yesterday concerning the case was that McBride's blood alcohol level was what he said the equivalent of 10 shots of vodka in an hour.
Oof.
And he opined that nobody consumes that kind of drink within 1 hour. To which I respond, I went to Michigan State, and
Really?
I've seen it happen. Haven't you, Eric?
Yeah, I have seen. I've never been a shot person, but I
Yeah.
have seen it happen. Definitely.
Yeah, Werner's a little out of bounds. I
Jeez,
think
what
saying nobody does that. Timco's over here going, didn't we do a drunk show a couple weekends ago?
Thank you. That's all I need to
What a
say.
stick in the mud. Sounds like nobody would ever drink that much
I
amount
know.
of alcohol.
Exactly.
I want to have a party with that guy.
Yeah, really.
Go to the bar with that guy. You have 2 beers. He's like, "Whoa, settle down, bro."
Boy, this guy's a barrel of monkeys, you know?
Yeah.
He looks at dead people all day, and then,
Right.
Jeez.
What was it? 10 shots in an hour?
Yeah, he said 10.
I mean,
it's the
that's a
equivalent of
lot,
10
but-
For sure it is. But
That is a
what,
lot.
what is it?
shots,
It's like
but-
a pint of vodka, maybe?
Yeah. I mean, it's a lot, but I'm sure most people have known at least one of your guys, one of the guys that's the shot guy or something that's
Sure,
probably
at
done
least a
something.
couple of the cast members here have done that. But yeah, another point of emphasis for Dr. Spitz was McBride's hands. Apparently, the defense is really trying to show that because there was blood on her hands, that meant that she for sure was pounding, and
Right.
the nature of the pounding on the door had to be such that she was bleeding. Whereas the prosecution contends, no, that's just stray blood from the shotgun wound.
And it's like, I know they can do a lot with that kind of stuff, but I don't know how you could determine if that was stray blood or if it was from pounding.
Yeah, I don't know.
Especially because it's obviously going to be her blood.
Yeah,
So
but
it's not-
they're going from pictures and they're going from autopsy
Yeah.
records, and Werner's looking at the pictures saying there's swelling to her hands.
That's what I was just going to say. Now that I think about it, yeah, you probably could say.
and then
yeah.
then the experts fight over, well, hands swell when you're dead, and so the blood pumps through the body even after you're brain dead and this and that. So
Right.
it's, to me, it's not a huge point of emphasis anyway. I think it's probably pretty clear that she was knocking around, but the ultimate question is, should he have shot her? And that's going to be for the jury to determine. We know he did shoot her. It's just a question of should he have? Did he have reason to believe that he needed to defend himself? But the big question in this case, people are speculating about, and we talked about it about a week ago, was whether he's going to testify in his own defense.
Yeah,
Pretty rare. I think you said Lakes Minivan USA did it, right?
absolutely. He
So
had
you-
to almost.
Oh,
but-
exactly. Yeah, thinking about the facts of that case, you do. And it may be that Theodore does too.
Is that real rare in reality
it
that
is,
people
man.
end up testifying? Is it just because they're going to avenge? It's too hard to
It's because
not look.
they're not professional actors, and a prosecutor will whip their ass
Right.
on cross-examination. In fact, I'm thinking back to my law school days, and in my criminal class, I remember my criminal law professor saying, never, ever, ever put your lying guilty defendant on the stand. Sort of.
thinking that maybe somehow he can
Yeah. No,
spin it or be.
and that's the problem with a lot of these guys, right?
They're
think
so arrogant, maybe
Yeah.
even that.
Yep, they think they can handle it, and it's like, no, this is a professional on the other side that's going to whip your ass.
Do you have to, if he is begging you to? I mean, or no?
Yeah,
Is there a real could he at one point even just get up and say, "Look at Judge, I want to testify."
He pretty
He has-
much would, if he's absolutely adamant and it didn't cause like a breakdown in the lawyer-client relationship
Yeah.
where the lawyer would go to the judge and say, look, I can't represent this guy. Yeah, you'd have
Would
to.
that mean? But when you say a breakdown in the lawyer-client, would that
It's-
mean you knew he was lying and you knew?
No. You know what? A lot of criminal defense lawyers, they don't even ask the question. You
Yeah, they
shouldn't
don't
ask
wanna
the
know.
question.
They
Yeah,
don't
you
wanna
shouldn't
know.
because you need the guy needs a defense. He has a constitutional right to a defense, and if you know that for certain,
I was just going to ask you, if you know that he is guilty, can you still
you got to
sit?
step aside.
Really?
Yeah.
And what would you do? You would just say, would you
You'd
just
go to the judge and just say that there's a breakdown, that there's an
Would he know what that meant?
yeah, probably, but the judge isn't the fact finder.
Okay.
The jury
Okay.
is, so,
Yeah.
yeah. So yeah, it can be tricky, but it'll be interesting to see what Ted does, Ted Wafer, and they expect this thing to probably wrap up next week, so we'll know more as we get into next week.
That's funny to me. Just that whole concept. I'm just thinking about that. The concept of not asking the question because you don't want to know.
Yeah.
And
Yeah, well, a lot of these criminal defense guys, they sort of look at themselves as like, it's a necessary thing.
Right.
It's kind of a noble thing that they're doing.
Yeah,
A lot of
for
people
sure.
look at them like, you are a smarmy motherfucker. How can you defend this guy?
And-
But, dude, it's your right.
Right.
If you're in that position, you want a good lawyer to defend
Right.
you, right? And-
I have had that talk with you before. How I said in some capacity, I think that must be the hardest thing to do because
Mhm.
some of those guys, they have to be defending people where
They're
they
trying
know.
their best to get this pedophile off.
Right.
You know. Well, they're trying their best
What was that?
to get a pedophile.
I'm glad this is
charges
radio.
dropped against a pedophile.
I'm gonna have to go in and take that off. They're trying their best to get
Get
this
a pedophile off. Yeah, they can't do it. No,
No, you're
but
right.
you know what I mean. So
But you're right. It's one of those lines to me where it's like I said to you when we were talking about the OJ thing back in the day when it was the 20th anniversary or whatever anniversary, and I just said in a sense like Cochran's out there, and I can even get him in the in the trial. That's his job. That's his thing. But then like he's getting interviewed after, and he's going about the glove and this, and I'm like, dude, this guy knows OJ did it. And he's still being arrogant, like out of the courtroom, acting like. And I get it, he has to, but I just think I couldn't do that.
I know, I agree.
I couldn't do that to him.
I wouldn't want to do it either. That's why I never have. It does put you in a weird kind of
Like, to me,
moral situation.
Absolutely.
You know? Well, moving on from kind of the ugly stuff. Well, I don't know. Is this ugly? It's MLB trade deadline day. It's interesting. The Tigers made an enormous move. They traded Austin Jackson and pitcher Drew Smyly for David Price. The formidable starting rotation of the Detroit Tigers just got better. Tigers general manager Dave Dombrowski, known as one of the best in the business, made a deal at the deadline to bring Tampa Bay Rays starter David Price to Detroit. Price had to be the most coveted guy out there at the trade deadline. Everybody knew he was
right.
He was available, and you had to know the Tigers would sniff around at least. But I guess I didn't expect this.
I'm really. I think I don't know about you, but I don't know what to think. Like I don't not like it.
Oh, the
there's
dude's
no
awesome.
Right. There's no question. It makes our starting pitching better again.
Mm-hmm.
But we give up Smyly, which is kind of younger guy.
I like Smyly.
Yeah. And the other thing is we still have this bullpen issue going.
Here's my problem with it. If you keep Fister,
which I
if
still
you
don't understand that.
If you didn't trade Fister, one of the top
good.
20, 25 pitchers in the league.
He got 10 wins already this year.
Yeah,
too.
he's like 10-2. If you don't trade him, then you can move Smyly into a long reliever role, which he did great before. And so that solves a problem.
Dude,
and it just seems like you're trying to put out fires, solve problems that were created for no reason.
Here's my biggest thing. If they hadn't come out and I get that, you say what you have to do. We all know they say the PR role, they say the thing they have to. But they are adamant about all these decisions in the offseason. We're not money related. We're just trying whatever.
Mm-hmm.
And that Fister thing made no sense. And you're right. I didn't even think about it until you just said it now. If we don't get rid of Fister, which we didn't have to, we had Fister.
He's so
it wasn't
solid.
A contract issue.
Yeah.
It was we had him.
Mm-hmm.
We would have had Fister. Then we could have full on put all of our stuff towards a solid reliever or something. Not that they didn't, and I don't know who was really out there. I don't pretend to know if there was a better person. I'm not sure, but
I know it's tough because
it seems like that's all they did. They did what they did a few years ago, which is Fister was awesome when he came in that year. He awesome. I think he's the reason they went to the One of the reasons they went to the World Series that year, and then got swept or whatever. But
yeah, but you have more chance that Drew Smyly is going to bite you in the ass in a couple of years than the guys that they gave up for Fister.
I agree.
So I don't know. I don't mind seeing Austin Jackson go, I guess. He's sort of a fan favorite in a way. Interesting, he was pulled out of the game yesterday in like the 7th inning.
Right.
It's just weird to see that. Like, he knew he was traded.
Right.
And everybody else did. They're giving him hugs and stuff.
I mean, I think Detroit definitely likes him.
Yeah,
he has his issues. Unquestionable.
Problem with him is when I think of him, I think of the playoffs.
How can you not?
And it just was so brutal to watch
How
him.
can
He's
you
so
not?
streaky. He had some good things, but I don't know. I feel like we kind of saw what he was all about, so I don't mind giving him up. And you get a freaking awesome left-hander,
right?
With David Price, and I believe he's signed through next year. And that
kind of iffy. I guess you read it too. You read the same thing. Did you read? Are you reading a different article that tells you a little more? Because I was very iffy on whether we had him just this year.
Free agent after 2015.
Oh, after 2015.
There had been rampant speculation that the Rays would move Price a free agent after 2015 because he will command a high price that they're unable or unwilling to pay. So here's what they're probably envisioning is that Scherzer's gone.
Yes.
Okay, so let's back up. They're saying we got to win. We got to win the fucking World Series, right? I mean, let's stack our starting pitching. There's no doubt they've done that.
Dude, where does Verlander sit now, especially with how he's been?
Right. He's the he's 5, right?
In the lineup?
I know.
He's got to be, though, in a sense, right?
boy.
Seriously, where does Verlander now?
Well, if you remember last year, he had a strong end to the regular
yeah.
season.
And his playoffs was awesome.
Yeah,
I mean,
right.
untouchable almost in the playoffs.
But will he do that again in the playoffs
the
without
problem-
the strong end of the season?
And here's the problem: you just put him in, hoping that's going to happen.
Right.
Playoff games are so tight.
You can't
They're so important.
Yeah.
Best of 5 in the first round.
You can't just throw one and go, oh well, we got pummeled, whatever.
I do think, the funny thing is, my opinion is, if they put him in the playoffs, he would do it. But
yeah, it's a gamble at this point. He's just, man.
well, aren't they really just, they gotta win. Their goal is they know the pressure, the window is closing with this team.
Right, and if they win it, then
we all sit there and go, hell yeah.
Whatever Drew Smiley, whatever Austin Jackson, whatever Doug
They
Fister,
just need that ring, man.
Yeah,
but
they
how many
do.
teams do it? Cleveland, all those years, Cleveland had good teams.
Yep.
Utah in basketball, there's always those teams, and that's
Bills.
That's all.
There's a lot of kids in Nigeria
Well, yeah,
wearing
they're
Bills
Nigerian.
championship football T-shirts.
Just real quick, that's why I was always so happy about the 04 Pistons. Even though I think they should have won more, they still got
They
the
got
ring.
it done,
We
man.
did get the ring. I think they should have won more, but they did get it.
Yeah, it'd be a shame if this team didn't get it, and it certainly does feel like the window is closing quickly. With, as I said, Scherzer likely gone. So, David Price, he's awesome. Like I said, left-hander. He has a 3.11 ERA over 23 starts this season. 2 years ago, he won the Cy Young with a ERA of 2.56.
Yeah.
So it'll be fun to see.
Although
Now,
I will say,
yeah, go ahead.
last year he was 10-8, 3.33 ERA. So
Yeah.
I don't know what he's been doing this year, really, but
Yeah, so
we'll see.
I guess you never know with pitchers, because here's an example too. You go get Soria from the Rangers. You
Yep.
put him in a couple nights ago, and he's a flame.
Right.
You just gas can.
I hope it's good, dude. I just would love. This has been great. Most of my life, the Tigers sucked. I was born in '84, so obviously I don't remember any.
Mhm.
7 months old. God, it'd be nice for them to win a freaking ring. But
It'd be great. Well, we've got the A's to contend with, certainly.
Yep.
Assuming we make the playoffs, the A's are loaded up. They acquired John Lester yesterday at the trade deadline, and they sent Cespedes, a guy who
he's been a Tiger
he
killer,
was,
dude.
you know what? I have that written down on my sheet. A bit of a Tiger killer.
God.
He was a guy that the Tigers wanted when he was coming out of Cuba a few years back, and I think that us not getting him resulted us in then signing Torrey Hunter.
Huh.
I think.
Okay.
But
He's
yeah,
definitely been a Tiger
he
killer.
is, man. Yeah, he's
Especially
a
in the
fast
playoffs.
guy. He's just he's a ball player, and so they give him up and they get Lester.
But he
and-
always, dude. Every time we have those last 2 years, we 5 games with the A's. He always, whenever he's up, dude.
seems like him and Coco Crisp. It's like,
Yeah,
fuck.
Coco Crisp too.
You know?
That stupid name. I
Ugh.
still don't get that, dude.
I know.
Why we have to all refer to him? He has a real name. We all know it.
So
Well, we don't
stupid.
know it, but
Yeah, so the A's are loaded. Boston really moved some players. They moved Jake Peavy last week to San Francisco, and they later made a big trade when they sent their number 2 starter, John Lackey, to the St. Louis Cardinals yesterday. So they were moving. They weren't afraid to move some pieces around and try to better their team for next year.
one funny point to me about the Oakland thing, only with them getting that pitcher, is I've heard a few people reference this, that that team has always been in contention, but they kind of play the money ball. What's his
Yeah.
name? Billy Bean or whatever.
Yep.
But this one is one of the first ones they've really done where they're really making a run. They must think they have a team and finally said, let's spend some money.
Yeah.
Because, you know what I'm saying? Like, they always play that money ball. They've done good, and they've been really good. But, it's always hard if you're not willing to spend a little money.
Yeah, and the Tigers have been their nemesis of
For
late.
sure,
so
for sure.
It's looking like a collision course. That the
Again,
two
man.
teams are on a collision course, and
That's kind of
it's a lot
cool
of fun.
if you're an Oakland fan. As much as I want the Tigers to win, I almost envy that Oakland fan if they get the Tigers and we beat them, they beat us. Obviously, I don't want it to happen. But for them, that ride,
Yeah.
the speed, like we're almost
Yeah,
like right
we've been
now
on
that
those.
the Boston, we're almost like the Celtics to their Pistons.
For
right
sure,
now.
yeah, we've been on those with the Pistons and the Red Wings,
And
and we
those
saw
are
them
so
grow.
fun
It's,
from the
yeah,
opposite side.
absolutely, it is. You'd almost rather be that kind of
I
underdog,
know,
growing,
it's fun,
growing.
dude. Like
Yeah.
that Piston team in 04 and 97 of the Wings. We all been through them. So
Yeah. Another, moving on from sports, but kind of sticking with sports. Did you see these Spanish soccer team jerseys?
No.
They're dude.
Although I think I know where you're like.
This is a Danish firm, Hummel, to celebrate some some third division birthday of the club. They're giving 10% of the proceeds. Like, oh, don't give too much. 10% of the proceeds to charities for mining families in the region where this
10%.
team, where this team is based.
Dude, and we all know our
dude, this is what they're making their team wear.
Let me see.
Is that absurd?
That's
These are
ridiculous.
they're basically those tuxedo shirts.
T-shirts.
Yeah, tuxedo T-shirts.
That's ridiculous, dude.
I would refuse to play.
That's worse when some people get mad about advertising on jerseys.
Well, that's what I was going to talk to you about.
That's worse than that.
What do you think about how soccer teams use the advertising? Do you think it's coming here, and what's your reaction to that if it does come here?
Do you care if I flip? Because I see that there's some advertising jerseys on here.
Yeah, like Barcelona.
Yeah, dude. It's weird. As much as Americans are so about the bottom line and money, and sports is just, we all know it's a money thing now. It always has been, but it more than ever is $1 trillion or whatever industry. That still has stayed away. The idea of putting advertisements on jerseys.
It's like sacred, right?
And I think you'd be stupid to think that it's not coming now.
Oh, yeah.
Eventually.
I completely agree.
Dude, I mean, what Manchester United, Chevy just had that big deal where now the Chevy logo, dude, that's just their jersey now. It's not even a logo. Their logo is Chevy.
Absolutely, no.
Like,
Qatar Airways is what Barcelona's wearing.
I guess whatever.
And it really blends in after a while. Like
that's the problem.
Yeah.
Eventually, it's just, remember it used to be advertising on the boards. There didn't used to be now in hockey in the Red Wings games. It used to be you didn't have. I mean, there's on the boards, but then pretty soon they started putting a digital enhancement on the back.
Superimpose it on the bit. Oh, and there's like Sam Bernstein on the back of the. Yes.
And I remember hating it at first, and now it's just there.
It's just there, man.
But the thing is, do you want to see the old English D with Bell Tire on the
That's what I was gonna say, man. Can you really do that? Can you really?
Oh!
God,
no, I hope not.
It's going to start small, and it has in the NFL, the practice jerseys. Yes. You see the little logo on there now, and that's how it's going to happen. I think it's going to be like on the back of a collar kind of deal, little logo.
Please no, please no tiger pen. That's what I just get. You know what I mean? Just like the Tiger D, and then we're gonna have freaking, like I said, Bell Tire.
Well, it's been creeping, as you say, into it as we go to Comerica Park and we go to all these different places.
They said they were going to call that Tiger Stadium. Do you remember that? They kind of for a while said it was going to be Tiger Stadium still. Yep. And then, boom, Comerica Park.
So
I mean, Ford Field's understandable. Ford Field, but...
Well, it's certainly coming, and I'll tell you this about soccer. Like I said, it does blend in. You don't realize it after a while, but I didn't grow up with it any different. You know what I mean? And
soccer's a little different because they don't have commercials, though. They only have the 45-minute halves, so they really don't have much. Like, they'll do this half is brought to you by Coca-Cola, and they have the changing.
But it doesn't change the fact that even though you have ads in NFL football, that you could still make more.
Oh, no. I'm not saying that doesn't mean they won't make more. I'm just saying it's almost like soccer. But the problem is, as we all know, it's once it's open, once it's out of the box, once one team, you got $1 million soccer owner that starts telling a basketball owner, hey, I'm making,
Well, it's going to have to be the league. I'm sure the league approves all.
Oh, no, I don't believe you could do that. I don't believe the Tigers. Yeah, I could flat out just the Tigers.
Which league will fold first, you think? NHL, right?
Yeah, hockey.
Because they need it. They need the money the worst.
For sure.
So, God.
But basketball is such a money grab. Even though people think football is, think about basketball.
Yeah.
Yeah,
it would go NHL, NBA, NFL, MLB.
Baseball would be last for sure. Yeah. No question about it. I could see baseball. If one person didn't do it, it would be baseball. Yeah. If they didn't, I'm not saying they will or won't, but if
they'll hold out for a while, especially if Bud Selig will be gone soon. But have you heard more speculation about Dave Dombrowski taking over as commissioner?
Really, but I mean, I know I keep hearing it.
God, doesn't he remind you of Mr. Rogers? I was looking at the press conference today. It's like, shit, man, he looks and speaks like Mr. Rogers.
I never thought about it, I guess. I'll have to look at it a little closer. Maybe it'd be cool if I could. You'd have to put the vest on or whatever.
the sweater.
The sweater
it's not
vest.
A vest. It's not a sweater vest. It's a sweater.
Yeah, you're right. Just a sweater.
He comes in and puts his sweater. How weird was that?
The land of make-believe.
God, if you watch that now, my man walks in and he takes off his shoes and he puts on like these just cheese dick,
shoes, I guess,
these little house shoes, and he ties them. And I remember even as a kid watching that going, there's something that really who is this guy? As a little kid, it really perplexed me.
Okay, that's funny. Jay hasn't pulled off the beginning. See, this is.
I did though as a kid love that little make-believe land. Though.
It was kind of cool.
Shit, it was cool,
I want to see if we can hold off just a little bit. I wouldn't mind seeing this very beginning here.
Let's sing along.
What is it? It's a beautiful day. How weird is the
It's so bizarre.
Don't you question? I'm sorry. I'm not. I think he turns out. I think everyone, by all accounts,
It's a beautiful day in this neighborhood.
he does look like David
It's
Browse.
Dave Dombrowski.
Dude, I didn't think so as much at first.
Check him out. He takes off his sport coat, and look at all the sweaters in there. He's got like
I know.
8 different sweaters.
Would you be mine?
Did he do this all in one take? I always wonder. I wonder if he recorded this every time.
I have always wanted to have a neighbor just like you.
Creepy.
Always
It is.
wanted to live
And I-
in a neighborhood with you. So let's make
We gotta wait till the
Should
shoes.
update him. God, I love that look. The sweater
What
with
was
the
it with
tie
going
underneath
up
it.
once? I always remember that up once and back down.
I don't know, but I love that look, man. And then he puts on these like little tennis shoe sort of things like your mom would wear, you know? Eric, get my shoes. Get my shoes. No, they're not slippers. They're like little shoes. They're little
Why is he
lady
getting
shoes.
shoes to sit in the house?
I don't know, and he's still wearing his dress slacks.
Where's he
and-
coming from, by the way?
That's a great question.
Where is he even?
No shit. What are you so dressed up for, Rogers?
Right? Is he coming from the office?
I don't know, man.
That just hit me just now. Like where? Because he's obviously he never references a job or
Yeah,
anything.
this is where he does his stuff.
Where
You
is
know?
he coming from?
I don't know. Let's see here. See, there he is. He's all dressed up. And then you contrast that with Eddie Murphy's Mr. Robinson, was it?
I was going to bring that up originally.
Hello,
Oh,
neighbors.
man. God.
Yeah, no, it's
Do you-
Dombrowski.
You
So
just always question, not to be mean. By all accounts, the guy that did Mr. Rogers or whatever.
the guy who did Mr. Rogers,
That was just his name?
dude, it
Well,
was Fred
oh,
Rogers.
Okay. Well, Fred Rogers, by all accounts, from what I know, it sounds like he was just a good guy.
Mhm.
But dude, I question anybody that works Blues Clues, dude. You know,
Oh,
any
yeah.
Barney, the guy who's gonna be Barney or what? I mean,
I guess you have to come at it with a bit of suspicion. But okay, here's it's Mr. Robinson, right?
was this an SNL
Yeah.
thing or
Yeah.
okay?
Yeah, this is great.
Oh, you didn't live through the Eddie Murphy
Not
SNL days?
really,
Shit,
no.
man.
Mine are like the Will Ferrell days and.
Here he is. Check him out.
Hello, boys and girls. We all alone again today. You know why? My wife walked out on me.
He puts his Pumas on.
Isn't that nice? I'm so glad the bitch is gone.
Oh wow! See, that probably would have been a big deal back then to say "bitch" on
Yeah.
SNL.
He was awesome on SNL.
Anyway,
No, I agree. You
just
do
saying.
have to approach each one of these
Clowns.
kids. Yeah. Oh, dude.
I get. You know what? I feel bad because I bet there are a lot of them that are literally just people that
Mhm.
enjoy putting smiles on people's faces.
And by all accounts, that's what Fred was doing.
right,
He-
I said,
yeah.
I've never heard anything against it. I really haven't, and because stuff comes out nowadays, but it's just weird to me.
Yeah.
I guess.
Agreed. Well, sticking a little bit with sports, but not sports.
Right.
Did you hear about the NFL placing trackers and pads? They're going to
No.
they're going to be putting radio receivers in the players' shoulder pads
Is this
that will work in tandem with radio frequency identification transmitters to turn player movement into meaningful measurements.
really? Is this
So-
all about hitting and concussions and?
No, it's
Really?
more about fan involvement and understanding how fast players are going and
Really?
their position and shit. So the league in its announcement Thursday said it hopes it will be able to track distance and speed, and it will enhance the fan experience, but allow the teams to learn more about their players from a competitive
I
standpoint.
can see that.
It's like, why not, dude?
Right.
You know?
Well, I'm only going to say this because I know you've done it before, and I haven't. But sports, man, you know, me personally, most of the games I get to go to, I'm not sitting in the good seats. I've had a few lucky times, but whatever. But football, and I've heard this, and you've been on the sidelines for a football game, dude. I just hear, but it's so fast, and those hits are so hard.
No, Walters has
Oh,
been on
you-
the sideline.
I thought you have not. Okay,
Nope,
sorry.
Nope, but that's what he has said. Is like, if you can get down there, it changes everything. I've been close down at practices and
Gotcha,
shit, but not
okay.
during a game.
Okay.
But yeah, why not use these little chips and shit? Here's my idea, and I've been chirping about this for years, and Walters can attest to this. My big thing with football, college and pro, is the ref spotting the ball. It means so much.
That is a good
It
point.
means so much. Why not put a grid under the field and put a chip in the ball,
dude.
and so that we know exactly how far that ball advanced.
You're right, dude.
Instead of just watching, oh, it's right here, and you watch the replay, it's like, no, fucker, it's 2 yards back, and it means everything.
I know
it means everything. It's a third down now instead of a first. It means everything.
Dude, I know, you're right. That's a good point, and I swear, I know there's a million examples, but the Lions game that we made the playoffs a few years ago against the Saints, and I know a lot of people look at that because you look at the final score and whatever, but there was a play in the third quarter when the Lions were still only down, I think, 3 or maybe 7. It was within a scoring point for sure. And they had stopped St. Louis. And I swear to God, I know, like, again, in the end, they lost by how many points. But this was crucial. It was in the third quarter, and it was on a third or down or a fourth down. I forget, and St. Louis went for it. And I swear to God, I watched it 10 times later that night on DVR or something, and they did not even come close to it.
New Orleans went for it?
New Orleans, yes.
Okay.
And the Lions stopped
Dude,
them.
I know, it kills you, right? And we could do this.
Yes.
Grid the field, chip in the ball.
Why not?
Fuck.
Why not? Having said it, by the way, even though it's not an official thing, that first down marker that they started putting down 10 years ago, maybe now, fucking greatest thing ever, dude.
Yeah,
you
for
remember
sure.
before that, just kind of.
How about this? Do you remember before they had the score on the screen?
No,
you'd
I'm
be
lucky
sitting
enough.
there. You'd be like, Dad, what's the score? Dad, what's the score? I don't know. You know, you'd be like, fuck, what's the score?
That's
You know,
crazy to me, dude. I don't remember that.
Oh my
time.
God, it's come so far.
Do you remember when they chipped the hockey puck?
Oh,
Oh,
yeah.
dude, the glow puck.
Yeah, that was
Fox
so
glow
dumb.
puck. That was brutal. Well, you know, freaking grid the field, chip the ball. We are solving problems at the
Now,
Detroit Cast.
Did they say that because of this, that's something they're going to try to do, or right
No.
now it's just for the play?
No, they're
Well, you're right on that, though, then.
yeah.
That should be. If they can do this, and they
Chip
can.
everything.
Dude,
everything possible.
Why is it some old fat guy is sitting, down the sidelines just going, well, this is where you remember how that, how it goes? They land, then he just runs up there, takes the ball.
Yes, exactly.
And then the other guy kind of goes.
And it means everything. Every game turns on
Dude.
those possessions. There's 2 or 3 where it's like, if you get that first down instead of having to punt right there, you probably score 7 points.
So cliche,
Damn.
but every sports are a game of inches,
Yep.
and there's no reason that you're right. Absolutely.
Yeah. Well, moving on from sports, but still kind of staying with it just a little bit. The Ohio State Marching Band, there's no fucking way I'm going to talk in depth about the Ohio State Marching Band, except to say this. You've probably heard that last week they fired their band director for a sexualized environment.
Oh, I heard about something. I heard for other. I didn't hear
well,
that.
it was
part.
it was an environment that he was letting go amongst the band members, and the band members were getting raw on each other, hazing and dumb shit.
I heard that there was even the stuff I heard was that it was a bad environment because he was getting livid with people for if they were messing up on practice.
Oh, okay.
He was literally, a kid recorded him saying, you do what we fucking tell you to do. So actually, I heard something completely different.
Okay, well, it probably was a blend of those reasons, but it got me thinking when I saw this. Marching bands.
I was never in it.
Marching bands, is that a distinctly American concept? Are marching bands anywhere else?
That's a good question. I don't. You're right. I don't necessarily see.
And how about this? Let's hone in on the marching band even further. Get a little closer now.
Right.
The drum major.
No, dude.
Is that the oddest position that one can hold in society?
Don't get it, dude.
The frickin' drum major.
Right.
This is the dude out front with the big baton.
Yeah.
Usually a dude, sometimes a chick, usually dressed in all white with a big fucking tall hat, right? Like a Grand Poobah,
absolutely,
water buffalo, whatever.
Poobah, yep.
And it's freaking huge. It's a huge ass hat, and what are they best at? High stepping.
I know, and then doing the back.
They high step. They do that stupid back bend thing.
Which is insane,
they do like It totally is. They do a limbo thing. They're wearing a white suit the whole time.
Did they not do anything else? Did they not play an instrument?
No, I think that they're like. I think they're the kings of the dipshits. I think that they're like the best of the best, and they did play an instrument, but now they're like sort of an assistant conductor or whatever.
Gotcha.
So I think they actually do conduct a couple numbers. But dude,
yeah,
is there any stranger position in society that you could hold?
I think it's so funny because I always talk about this all the time. Everyone knows when in high school, the band geeks, the band nerds, blah, blah, everyone makes.
No, I'm not criticizing.
No,
Look, I know band is a valuable thing. It releases a part of your brain that I'm not by any means saying band sucks or whatever. But it's just so fucking weird.
I was going somewhere else. I was just saying it's in high. I always thought it was funny because in high school there is that though. I'm not saying that, but everyone kind of band geeks. But it is funny that once you get to like Michigan or State or Ohio State, then it's like, oh fuck yeah, you play the victors on Sat. You know what I'm saying? Like it actually becomes kind of.
It's still a little.
My uncle, I actually had an uncle who played in a Michigan State marching band.
Okay.
Back in the 70s, I guess. I'm guessing so.
I'm kind of with you though. I've always questioned. Claire and I have argued about this. The purpose of a band conductor, because I know when I was in band class,
did you ever look at that guy?
I'm reading the sheet music.
Yeah,
I'm not looking at this dick with a stick.
Yeah, that's total ego shit. That's total ego. He's up there just being the man.
And he's like front and center, like conducted by. It's like he didn't do shit. He waved his stick around, kind of thing. I'm reading the sheet music. I'm not looking at him.
Dude, we're so gonna get some people emailing in. He's doing something.
Yeah. Oh, he's keeping the tempo and his
tempo. Yeah. No, Jerry Seinfeld has a bit about that too, about the idea that
the conductor.
He's like that he needs to be out there to start it. Like I can understand that, and then it's after that.
It's like tick 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 tick, boo, and then they go, and they're reading their music.
Well, and by the way, at that point, if they don't know what they're doing anyway, then what? They're out.
Yeah, if you need a fucking guy up there with a stick to tell
play the
you,
victors or play the state fight song.
Exactly.
Yeah. See, like listen to Tony here. Let's see. He doesn't have any fucking conductor there.
No conductor.
It's all just cold.
And he's just doing just fucking fine. I get it. Yeah. He needs no
money, man. Tony. I forgot about Tony.
Unless he's got the wife. Maybe the wife's up there conducting. Yeah. That's why it took him a while to get set up. You got to get the wife.
You could play it? It's in the other room.
It's in the other room. You think you could go get it?
Is it all possible to put your phone down?
I just love the visual of him like propping up the music onto another chair next to him and then standing there just
because it was one of the first calls we did.
It's great.
It's one of the first ones we've been on here, and I think maybe your first one. I just like that visual of this guy in Idaho, this 80-year-old man or whatever.
Yeah, we'll call him back at some point. But the drum major thing. Just think about it, people.
So what was going on though? They were having he was letting a lot of like what was it? Orgies going on.
You're back to the Ohio State.
Sorry.
He was letting basically like sexualized hazing go on. Just.
Dude, that all
it's just band geeky guys being band geeky guys. I think
does that.
Probably.
I'm sorry. Some of this stuff, not to get too on a tangent, but some of this stuff, dude. Even in cross country, we had hazing for me. As long as it's not flat out. I mean, I get it. It shouldn't be just free for all, anything goes, but it's kind of just a part of. I think that's how you grow up, dude. I think that's how sometimes you learn that sometimes that's just how things are going to be. There's going to be an older guy than you, and maybe. In our cross country, they ponded us. We had some pond that we'd run by once in a while, and the freshmen they'd take you one day, and you kind of knew it, kind of whatever. It sucked, but you just you knew it was going to happen. You knew everyone had gone through it before you.
In a lot of ways, it's team building and camaraderie more than really damaging to a person. I mean, if you're shoving broomsticks up asses, obviously.
No, absolutely. But like I said, in our edition, we just, like I said, the seniors would get together and they'd kind of whip you into a little pond. But, you knew they had done it. You knew.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, rite of passage. So that's it for the sports, I promise.
I know a few people they just were like.
Yeah. Fuck the sports. Real quick on Israel, and speaking of blowing, but real quick on Israel. Tension in Gaza and Israel continues.
God, dude.
And this is again one of these deals that we'll be watching hour by hour because it changes like crazy. But the big thing in today's news is that Israel's military announced it would be calling up 16,000 reservists as the country's prime minister vowed to destroy the tunnels used by the Islamic militant group Hamas to attack soldiers and civilians inside Israel.
Dude, Wolf Blitzer's going to be pissed. They weren't even big enough in the first place.
Exactly. These are the tunnels, just a reminder to everybody. Not only is there the fighting, going on the surface, all the lobbing of bombs and missiles and such, but these tunnels are a real issue because Gaza is sort of landlocked in. Also has the Mediterranean Sea on one side. So when they put sanctions against Hamas, Egypt, and Israel, it locked them in, and so they had to build these tunnels to smuggle things in and out. Well, they've obviously been using them for nefarious purposes concerning terrorism. So Israel is just blowing the damn things up, which they should. And so that's their main thrust right now is to destroy those, and that's going to be a major hit on Hamas. So we'll see where it goes. Again, one of these things that's a real moving target. but something to keep your eye on. Another one of these international stories, the Ebola that we talked about for the last couple of days.
I'm hearing some good news, dude.
Are you?
Well, in the sense that if it comes here, we're pretty much okay.
Why is that, man?
They've been saying that because we're America, our money, our system is cut out for it better. They're actually starting to get people right now too. Like they're putting hospitals on alert that if anybody comes in, any of those symptoms, we had one just yesterday.
With a fever, with chills. I mean,
yeah. Well, and we had one just yesterday or 2 days ago. I may have saw it yesterday, but it was 2 days ago, where someone mentioned a few symptoms, mentioned they'd been over in South Africa. Boom, they shut it down.
Oh, okay.
Quarantine.
Yeah.
Sorry,
No, they should, and you'd think that it would be pretty rare to have someone who had been in that region.
I've had a few people. I've been listening to a few people.
Shit, they should quarantine anybody who comes from that region for
that's a good point.
A day or two.
I agree.
What the hell, man?
Anyway, go on with what.
No, I was just going to mention that doctor, the doctor that we talked about the other day, who
that was my best effort. That's I think that was my best effort at that.
Do it again.
Doctor. No, I didn't like it that time.
Try it again.
I'll get you. I can't do it.
He puts his hands on his head.
I thought if I did that motion, maybe. Well, just can't. Walter's got that down.
Yeah, we can't.
He'll have a job left. He'll have the hosting.
Yeah. We were kind of nudging him out of a job here, but he can always come and do his Don. I guess make a cameo every now and then if something's going on in the Don Sterling world.
Right, we'll bring him in.
Yeah, we'll bring him in. We'll let him call in or something. No, I was going to mention this doctor, the 33-year-old guy who was over there with the organization who was just there to give aid, and he contracted Ebola. And the story today was how he forewent some of the medicine so that his colleagues could have it.
Wow.
Who had come down with it as well. That's our guy. That's our guy. So he's being kind of labeled a hero, and I mean he is. He's a guy over there who's basically, given his life possibly to help these other people with the sickness. So
good for him, man. It was nice that there's people out there that do care.
Jeez. So that you don't have to,
so
right?
That I don't have to.
Yeah. Doctor. Yeah, there's people who will do all sorts of things in this world so that Eric doesn't have to.
Exactly. It's like
our military, cops, whatever. You can just go down the list.
Right.
Why don't we? We've been going a little while. Why don't we take a break? When we come back, we'll get into some of Eric's comedy. I promised. And this is stuff. Eric's been talking since I've been here how he does this stand-up, and I've never seen it. And apparently, there's a little bit of it available on YouTube. So we're going to pull that down and take a listen. And we'll also get into a couple other quick stories, quick follow-up on stories that we covered this week. With some interesting facts, and then the Bloom Bieber issue, I guess, had a little flare up again that we need to discuss. So we'll be right back.
Continues after this short break. The Detroit Cast continues now, bitches. Here's Mike and Jay.
This is misty watercolor memories.
Get out of here. Are you shitting me?
The way we were.
Morning, everybody. The war in the Middle East going to a new level. Israel calling up reinforcements, 16,000 more troops, and vowing to keep shelling Gaza until the mission there is complete. And that mission is to shut down the Hamas tunnels. Good morning, everybody. I'm Bill Hemmer, and welcome here to America's Newsroom. Patty Ann, welcome back to you.
Good morning, Bill. Great to be here. I'm Patty Ann Brown in for Martha McCallum. Israel storming homes in Gaza, trying to find those tunnels.
That is fierce street-to-street fighting in Gaza City. Israel facing increased backlash over the rising civilian death toll accusations that hit a UN school and a refugee camp yesterday. Israel saying it will investigate that, but also claims that hostile fire was coming from that school and says Hamas uses human shields to protect its weapons in those schools. John Huddy's live near the border again today. And John, we now hear another UN school.
The Detroit Cast continues now, bitches. Here's Mike and Jay.
During their conversation, he told several off-color jokes.
Hey, everybody, we're back for the last half here of our Friday edition, our last show without Mike. And while the cat's away, the mice will play. As I said before the break, we're going to be watching and listening to some of Eric's stand-up, and this will be interesting. I've never seen it in my life. He's told us, that he's a stand-up comedian, and he's gone out of town over weekends and missed shows and shit for this. So let's hear from Eric.
I'm nervous too because we're putting him in the driver's seat over here at the board, so this might be disastrous.
All right, yeah, Jay, you've never seen this, so well, just just let it go, I guess.
You have to set us up.
This is next.
This is no, not really. This is just. Am I coming through today? Do I have to have mute or?
Show me. We're already off to a good start.
Hello? No, I just said it. Here. Hello. There we go.
Yeah. Sure.
No, this is that one I do when I've gone up in Grand Rapids a few times on a Sunday. The infamous dead body issue.
Right.
Actually, this was that night.
Okay.
But he films them every weekend and kind of puts some of the best of the weekend into a 30-minute little YouTube show. So I made it for this episode.
Okay.
And also, I will say this first joke is, although one of my favorite, doesn't work anymore because I don't have the job. But this is the joke you're about to hear is the joke I told the Bachelor lady. It's my first joke.
I can't wait.
He's the laughing sex offender who was sitting right over here. It's been a while since we've seen him. I'm glad he's back. It's Eric Fady, please.
I am not a sex offender, as far as nobody is concerned. What about Michigan? I'm 30 years old, guys, and I'm a host at a restaurant. That's not a joke. I don't know why you're laughing. That's my job. Like, my manager didn't even trust me with the responsibility of walking up to a group of people and writing down a food order, bringing it back to another guy, and bringing that food back to him. He's like, no, Eric, that seems a little complicated for you. Could you handle standing by our front door, counting how many people walk in, and doing it again? Handle that, slugger? I had to take a 3-day course to become. Whoa, I messed that up. I'm gonna restart. Not the whole joke, but like, I did the job of a high school girl, guys. You know what I mean? Like, here's the other host that worked with me, this is the ages. It goes like 16, 17, 18, 16, 30. I could be replaced from a sign. Like, if I called in sick, the guy could be like, oh, should we call in Andrew today? No, don't worry about it. Just turn that sign up front that says, wait to be seated, to please seat yourself. No need for another host. It took me 3 days to become a host, training-wise, because it's not that easy. And this is no joke. In the book, they told me some things like you should bring up, positively on the way to the table, like, hey, how about those sports teams or the weather? Negatively, it told me not to bring up politics, religion, or controversial issues. Was that a hard time? Did they have a real problem with that? Hosts bringing up controversial issues on the way to the table? So much so that they had to put it in the book? Like, we've had a lot of complaints lately. These hosts keep bringing up controversial issues as they're walking to the table. I'm going to stop that. How'd that work anyway? How many we got here? 4? All right, we got a table for you right over here, guys. Just throwing this out here on the way. I'm pro-abortion. Enjoy that lasagna. You know what I mean? Because I'm a professional and I rewrote this joke before I got here, I kind of wrote something out of paper. But speaking of shitty minimum wage jobs, one thing that I've always hated about everyone I've ever had is there's always like that one guy, you know what I mean, of those minimum wage jobs, like the overachieving loser, middle-aged man that wants to just unsolicitedly brag to you about how good he is at whatever he does. Like, he's like, I'm so good at bagging groceries. Or do you know how fast I can wrangle those carts in from the parking lot? I had this happen a few weeks ago. We had 2 hosts on, because I still do it, by the way. We had 2 hosts on, and a former host now has upgraded to the prestigious role as server. Came up to me and started saying, like, she's like, when I was a host, we didn't need 2 guys on a Saturday night. I could handle it all by myself. Like, okay. You're better at walking strangers to a table than me. Good for you. Like, I'm 30 years old and I'm working as a host at a restaurant. I'm here because I made some poor life choices, all right? Not looking to get into the Hall of Fame. Not trying to set, past Babe Ruth in the record books.
I'm going to skip ahead here to my last joke.
Sure, that's fine. And I gotta say, Eric, you got quite a command.
I don't want to be that good at my job.
You got quite a command of the stage there, buddy.
It is a better joke, Brian. Brian will let me tell this joke because it's better.
I don't know if you've heard this yet, Dave, but this is a real story from my life.
I was drunk in Chicago, guys, on a Tigers road trip with this Asian guy over here. And he was a pussy. That Asian guy, Ty, over there was a pussy. And he went to bed at 2 because that's when the bar closes in Michigan. But in Chicago, it closes at 4, guys. So I was like, fuck it, let's go. Got by myself in a cab to another bar. 4:30 in the morning, closing time. I'm drunk, horny. Let's go. I just start yelling out of the bar, where are the ladies at? I don't know who I thought was going to answer. Like some girls that like have it all together. They got a job and an apartment. They're like, I'm looking for a mistake tonight. Nope. Big black guy's like, I know where some ladies are at. How much money you got on you? Now, I know it seems obvious because you're laughing about what he meant by how much money he got on me, but I'm so drunk I didn't get it. I was like, I don't know, $40? Why? Then I got he was talking about prostitution. And I was like, yeah, fuck it, let's do it. So after about a half hour, we wrangle up a prostitute. This is a true story, by the way. There are things in your life that are like, they're funny in comedy, but they wouldn't work on a resume for a professional job, disqualifies. So I'm in the back alley of Chicago getting a blowjob from a hooker. Exactly. And a homeless guy is peering for me on a dumpster. And she goes, "Get out of here." She goes back to doing the business. About 30 seconds later, because I hadn't come yet, because I'm a man, the guy had peered back and was looking again. And that's it. She goes, "That's it, I'm done." And walks away. You know, she didn't finish it. So, like, this girl was willing to suck dick for money in the back alley of Chicago at 4:30 in the morning. But a homeless guy watching, and she's like, "That's where I draw the line. My mom taught me better."
Oh, shit, Eric.
My name is Eric Beatty. Thank you very much.
Good work, dude.
Too bad.
True story, no shit.
Absolute true story. Everything in that story is true.
You poor kid.
You know what's funny? Actually, I don't talk about it after that. But the end of that story is after she doesn't finish. I really don't know what to do. I'm so drunk.
Don't tell me.
So I just started walking home. I decided I'm not going to take a cab.
I thought you were going to drop your seat in the alley.
But we were on Rush Street.
Yep.
I took the cab to Rush Street. Our hotel was on like the Magic Mile or whatever. So it would have been a walk, dude.
Yeah.
I just started walking, and finally, like 5:36 in the morning, I'm like, I need a cab, dude.
Oh,
I paid for a cab.
It sucks. What a crappy ending of a night, man.
I know, right?
Wow. I think you're right too, Jay. I think that was a laugh track.
Yeah,
because I think we found the original one here. Let's see.
Come on, I saw Jay laughing. I saw Jay laughing a little bit.
Man, I got to give you credit, dude. Anybody who'll get up on a stage and do that, you got some balls. So, good work, buddy. All right, how do we follow that up? I don't know.
Maybe we should have left that for the end.
Yeah. How do we follow that up? With Bieber? I don't know.
Yeah,
does that fit?
That works.
Fucking asshole Bieber. Won't let this Orlando Bloom thing go, right? We talked about the altercation in Ibiza, Spain the other day, where it was caught on video, sort of caught on video, where Bloom kind of throws a punch at him after Bieber probably said something snarky about, is it Miranda Kerr?
There's rumors now that's come out that he said he yelled over to him, "I slept with your wife," or whatever.
Yeah.
So,
God, he's a little punk.
God, the biggest, dude. I swear to God, like I don't just say that because as you know me, I am into pop culture. I watch a lot of pop culture stuff.
Yeah, you don't just hate these guys.
No,
like,
I don't.
innately.
There's people that I like.
Yeah.
Like we talked about, even me watching The Simple Life and some. So there's people in pop culture that I'm for. Like I kind of like them. And Bieber, I fucking hate him.
Would he have done this if he didn't have his entourage with him?
No,
you know?
No way.
If he was just alone with Orlando Bloom one-on-one?
He's always, whenever.
Something tells me he wouldn't have.
Every time he does one of these things, he's got his big old entourage with him.
Yeah, well, today he Instagrammed a picture.
What a pussy.
I know. Is that how this goes now? Justin Bieber posted via Instagram a picture of Orlando Bloom like rubbing an eye. I guess like, oh, he's crying or something.
Yeah.
I don't think that this is at all connected with the Ibiza incident. It's
No,
just
I
kind of
think
him saying, ha, ha, ha,
Right.
you're crying. Like,
Real class
Okay.
act, by the way. After I mentioned he did just receive that award this weekend recently, like the Young People's Award for being,
Yeah.
giving. He does a lot of stuff with Make-A-Wish, I guess. And they tried to really talk about like he does it, but he really tries to not publicize that. And that's the thing you say when you want people to believe that he's doing it out of his own kind heart. or
like I
whatever.
said, his handlers have decided to kind of paint him in a good light that way, and so I'm sure they made sure charities were hooked up and things were squared away that way. But yeah, he looks like, by all indications, just a complete punk.
Dude,
and this
absolutely.
is a total punk move by him. I hope Bloom. I like Bloom more now.
I know.
Than I did 2 days ago. I hope he kicks his ass.
Yeah, that'd be sweet.
Well, moving on to a couple other stories locally of interest that we've been touching on over our week here, and just wanted to keep you informed that Metamora, Michigan couple whose dogs killed the jogger.
Yes.
Last week, we talked about it earlier in the week. It was the Cane Corsos, the two dogs who mauled the guy, killed him. Well, it turns out that they're in the U.S. illegally.
Of course.
The owners.
Of course.
So not only do we know that they had a history of these dogs biting other people, and some questionable stuff as to whether the prosecutors should have looked into that harder and things like that.
Yeah.
Not only that, but we have the woman is from Albania. She came into the country in January 1997 after bribing an immigration officer into granting her asylum, according to federal court filings. Her Italian husband arrived a month earlier as a tourist and never left. So they're just up in Metamora living with their demon dogs, and this poor guy jogging along ends up getting killed by him. So these assholes shouldn't even been here.
Dude, I don't want to come off. I'm not going to get into this like some kind of right-wing thing where we just start yelling about immigration. I'm for people coming into this country. I believe that is what makes this country good. I really do. But these people that just don't do it right, they don't do it legally, they don't go through the right channels, and they're sitting here with dogs. That's what bugs me. And then it's like, it's like
very happy to be here.
Yeah, we wouldn't have Arnold.
Right, that's true.
Not for
we
legal
wouldn't
immigration.
We wouldn't have me probably. Who knows? I don't know. But it's just like, just do it the right way, I guess.
Yeah.
And then it's like, that's my biggest thing with it.
Yeah, and apparently the process was started in terms of kicking him out. There was, and I haven't read in detail, but there's federal court filings, and they were about to be deported or whatever. But
could you imagine doing this in another country? Go over to Spain as an American, and you just sit there and kind of say, "Oh well."
Yeah, it's frustrating. Certainly, I'm sure the family's just thrilled about that.
Right.
Another family who I'm sure is thrilled is this family of the soccer referee, John. Was it Beinowitz? Is that how you say it? Isn't it Beinowitz? Bienowicz? It's like Krzyzewski. There's probably 58 different ways you could pronounce it. I'm saying it's Beinowitz.
Okay.
I'm looking
I'll go
at
with
it.
Who cares anyway? Well, he's an asshole, I guess.
No, he's not.
Oh, that's
this
the
guy
ref.
died. Damn it, Eric.
I thought it was the ref.
Blame the victim.
I thought it was the ref. Sorry.
He is the ref. Jeez.
Or I meant
the assailant?
You know what I meant.
Oh.
Sorry. I'm sorry. My apologies. I totally meant.
Man.
Never mind.
Lashing out at the victim. This poor 44-year-old father of two from Westland died of the injuries that he suffered during this attack. As we know, we talked about it in depth. Referee is punched by, what's his name? Basel Abdul Amir Saad, 36 of Dearborn. And some news that came out recently is in these preliminary hearings and things that are going on in this case, this wasn't the first time that a guy had punched a guy on a soccer field.
Oh, I'm sure.
And so the lawyers are fighting about whether a prior incident should come into the evidence. But also of note, there was a witness, Dr. Jamal Saleh, a member of Saad's team, described how the referee trotted over to Saad as he headed toward the sideline, and as the referee tried to pull a red card from his pocket, which would eject the guy from the game.
Right.
As he did that, Saad turned toward the referee and made a sort of roundhouse swing, is how the doctor described it, striking him. Dr. Saleh said he did not think Beinowitz saw the punch coming before he fell to the ground. Saleh came to render aid as the referee lay with his hands toward his chest, still clutching the red card. So, gosh, just picture that scene. I was saying, this is a quote from Dr. Saleh, I was saying, "Wake up, buddy, you're going to be okay." I noticed that he started to turn a little blue, and I began performing mouth-to-mouth resuscitation, Saleh said. Beinowitz never regained consciousness. So this guy, apparently, you see from the pictures, this Saad guy looks really remorseful now. Looks
sure.
really one of these things. Oh, I wish it wouldn't have happened. Kind of responses.
Yeah, I bet you do.
Come on, people, let's control ourselves. Just tragic. Another quick couple stories here before we get to some emails. Clinton, we know this isn't really news. There's been lots of stories about President Clinton at the time that he was the sitting president, knowing where bin Laden was at a certain point and having the chance to pull the trigger on the guy.
Yes.
There's been lots of stories about that and
Absolutely.
kind of speculation that there was this situation and he was too big of a pussy to send cruise missiles in. We could have had him. Well, what is news is that a recording of Clinton that confirms this came out a couple days ago.
Really?
Yeah, he was giving a speech, get this, on September 10th, 2001, one day before September 11th attacks. He's giving a speech, and he says he's with an Australian business leaders group, and he says, I'm just saying, you know, if I were Osama bin Laden, he's a very smart guy. I've spent a lot of time thinking about him, and I nearly got him once, Clinton said on the recording. I nearly got him, and I could have killed him, but I would have had to destroy a little town called Kandahar in Afghanistan and kill 300 innocent women and children, and then I would have been no better than him. And so I didn't do it.
Whoa.
So he's on tape. You know, it's interesting to somebody just came forward after with this 13-year-old recording and handed it over to an Australian broadcast. So again, not news that he had the chance, but interesting that it's coming out on tape like that.
Wow.
And sticking with Billy, not to pick on Billy, but there's another story here about how much he has earned.
Oh, I thought they were poor when they came out.
With respect to speeches, right.
I thought they were poor when they came out of the White House.
And wasn't that funny? That was the big thing about a month ago. It was Hillary has been obviously priming the pump to run for president. And so she's kind of laying the groundwork and getting things out there. We speculated that the Lewinsky story was published, her essay, kind of to get that out there, get people talking about it, so that when the election comes around, it's, oh, that's old news. Can we not talk about that old news? Well, I think she was sort of doing that when she got on this claim, this campaign where she was saying they were broke, that they trying to identify, I guess, with the common man.
Yeah.
Saying, oh yeah, when we left the White House, we were broke. Well. Whatever, because since then, and in fact, during the time that she presided over U.S. foreign policy, Clinton, when she worked in the State Department, Bill Clinton gave 215 speeches and earned $48 million.
Oh my God!
For giving speeches.
Oh wow!
I mean, that's what this dude was born to do, was give speeches, right?
Yeah. And there's no question he's good at that.
I bet he enjoys the fuck out of it.
Oh yeah.
You can just see, some people love that shit. Public speaking, they get it, they just love it, right?
Right.
That guy's $48 million richer after 215 speeches.
Well, we saw it with Eric's public speech, with the community college.
Oh my God!
I love talking in front of people,
dude. I
do.
To this day, that is my favorite picture of you, where you're standing at the podium, and I'm sure it's on our Facebook page, where you've got like one hand on your hip, and you're at this podium, and you've got kind of one hand in the air, like you're
so philosophical.
Yeah, sort of in that Socrates kind of pose. Ready to kick some knowledge to the 4 or 5 community.
I think that's what Eric needs to use on his angle for this Tinder,
he's a
quest
professor
that he's on right now. Yeah,
Definitely.
he can try to look like he's all philosophical.
Professor, he's a knowledge seeker. We know that. We know that. He's an expert in U.S. history. We know that.
Back from the Civil War back.
Oh, is that that's your hot spot?
Yeah, that's where my hot spot is.
All right, what number president was Ben Franklin?
Well, see, I'm not.
What number president was Ben Franklin?
Come on, everybody
Third.
knows this.
Dude wasn't a president.
I thought so. I knew. You know what? I had to give a number.
John Adams was 3rd.
Yes, you're right. You're right.
Was it Jefferson or Adams? Adams was 2.
You're right. I don't know, but
whatever.
I will say I've been to his
Jefferson was
house. I've been
3.
to Monticello, but
Oh, you've been to his house. Okay, what president number was Lincoln?
Dude,
no, yeah,
5.
I think it's like 16.
I know he wasn't 5. I
16.
always say 5.
But that's pretty obscure. How about this? What was tossed into Boston Harbor during the Boston Tea Party? What?
Careful.
The tea bags, really?
Okay, why? Why'd they do that?
Because they were protesting the tax on tea. They're actually protesting the misrepresentation of not having representation without taxation.
Holy shit, man! Wow! I walked into that one. Holy shit! All right, what came first, the Civil or Revolutionary War?
Well, revolutionary.
Okay, what came first, World War I or II?
The Great War, you mean? The war to end all wars?
Which war came first, World War II or III?
We haven't had World War II.
Damn, you're good.
Which came first?
He is a historian.
Sharknado 1 or Sharknado 2?
Yeah, you watched that shit last night, didn't you?
Yeah, I did for some reason.
Or a couple nights ago.
By the way, real quick here, I think we got the audio of Clinton and the Bin Laden. If you want to,
hit that.
Take a hear of it.
And I'm just saying, if I were Osama bin Laden, he's a very smart guy. I spent a lot of time thinking about him.
Billy.
And I nearly got him once. I nearly got him.
They laugh.
And I could have killed him, but I would have had to destroy a little town called Kandahar in Afghanistan and kill 300 innocent women and children. And then I would have been no better than him. And so I didn't do it.
God, the day before, you know.
That's
and
insane.
in hindsight, you know.
Of course, in hindsight, I mean, even the laughter, joking aside, is
right.
The laughter. I don't even. You can't say too much about it because absolutely did not understand.
Right.
Know what was happening.
Right.
Whatever.
No, it's just crazy.
And I'm not a
the
Bill
timing
Clinton
of
fan,
it.
but
right.
Were you going to talk more about it? Because there was just something I was going to bring up. If we're going to talk.
I was going to hit you with one more history thing.
Go ahead.
A little.
Is it going to be real or is it going to be?
No, this is real, and it's not a question. I have a friend, a former colleague of mine at the law firm, who had a client in Washington D.C.
Right.
And this client happened to be good friends with John Roberts, the U.S. Supreme Court chief, the Chief Justice. And just happened to live near him or something,
Right.
and they were good buddies. And so he said, "Hey, you're going to be out here in D.C. Let me try to set up a tour of the Supreme Court." And so my friend's like, "Sweet,
Right.
like a behind-the-scenes tour, badass, John Roberts is the top jurist in the country. He's the Chief Justice of the U.S. Supreme Court. So in fact, he sets this up. He gets a tour from the chief himself. They go all around, and he's telling all these stories about all the various things. And my friend, they're in kind of a little seating area. They have all these little stupid seating areas
Right.
with furniture that's 200 years old and shit. And my friend sits down on one of the couches, and they're just, kibitzing at the end of this tour. And the chief looks over at my friend. He goes, "You know what's relevant about that couch that you're sitting on?"
Oh, God.
And my friend's like, "Oh, shit. Was I not
Right.
supposed to sit on this thing? Oh, shit." He goes, "John Adams died on that couch."
Wow.
Isn't that wild?
That's
My friend's
crazy.
like, "Fuck."
That's weird. It's something like that. We've talked about death a few times on this show and for other various reasons, but that's just one of those rare things that's like people in reality. How many houses has someone died in, or this or that? But there's something to that you'd be sitting on the chair.
Yeah.
John Adams died. I saw the bed that Lincoln died on. It's
Right.
still there in the house across from Ford Theater, and it's
Well,
like
at the Henry Ford, they have the seat he was sitting in
absolutely.
when he got shot, which is amazing. You see his blood on there,
Right.
dude.
It's so
It's
crazy.
at the freaking Henry Ford Museum.
So crazy. I always think when history, what gets me so fascinated about it is that we know what happened. Like we all know now everything that led up to like Lincoln's assassination. So when you watch a movie about it maybe or something like when I watched Lincoln when it came out 2 years ago or a year ago, I guess last summer, it's almost like sometimes you almost wish like, oh, what's gonna happen. So I feel like I could change it. Like, come on, Lincoln.
Move, man.
Right.
Move.
I don't
Here
know
he
if that's kind of
comes.
stupid or not, but it's something like I always think about that's interesting about
Who
it.
killed Lincoln again?
John Wilkes Booth.
Wow, damn, he's solid. on
That's the
this.
Tyrants yelled out when he jumped down. He was an
Holy
actor.
shit. And then he broke his leg, right?
Yeah, broke his
Man, you are
okay.
good.
What was the play that they were watching?
Fuck, I don't know that.
Come on.
I know. I don't know it.
Our cousin. Jesus Christ,
Oh,
Eric.
jeez.
Dude, that's a pretty intense question. Even though
That
I've
is a
been to
pretty intense
I've been there several times, but that's a
The Ford Theater or whatever.
Ford Theater. Yeah.
All right.
I was just gonna say about Bill Clinton
Yeah,
real
go
quick.
ahead.
Do you know that there's more? I mean, not to be just shocked that he's having more mistresses, but he has another one that's come out recently.
I heard the end of a story about that. Tell me what that's about.
I don't know her name, but I know
they
that
had a code name
Yes.
for her or something, like the Energizer or something.
Yes, that's it. Because the Secret Service all say that when Hillary leaves, Bill starts to get real excited because the Energizer's coming. And they are out there now saying that because it's all out there that people think Hillary's going to run. And I forget who it was, but I think an unnamed source kind of situation,
Mhm.
but kind of said their biggest worry is they're like literally having to tell Bill like, oh no, it was when Hillary was running, I think, for Congress even. The biggest deal was they have to tell Bill like, dude, you cannot bring these mistresses on the tours. Like, just
Oh my
if
God.
he could just, they're not even saying don't have sex with them. They're just saying you can't be bringing them on the campaign tour, Bill.
so brazen about it.
He just doesn't care.
God, he's something else.
In some respects, you gotta respect that, I guess.
man.
The Energizer. I'm glad you did hear about
Yeah,
that.
I heard maybe a week ago. I heard
Guys,
that.
Energizer's coming
I
in.
know they've got all these code names
Well,
for
and
everything.
they have names for like when Hillary's on her way back. They absolutely. It's almost like you're a little kid, and they got. She's 20 miles away. Get her out of here. Get her out of here.
Yeah, they probably have some nasty code name for her. Yeah, that's interesting. Some good history lesson today. Moving on, though, I want to finish off with a few emails and a couple other issues here. Just an observation. Does Tom Izzo look more and more like Jimmy Hoffa?
I don't really. You know what? I'm not a big. I don't know.
I
He's
thought you
just
might
starting.
agree with that.
Sorry about that.
No, that jumped out at me when I saw something today. But
Is it something that you've noticed over the past?
dude, I have. I've been noticing it.
Let me look it up.
As Tom gets older and older, he looks more and more like Hoffa.
I want to look at. Now I want to see. So, actually, the key is I got to look up Jimmy Hoffa because I kind of know what Tom Izzo looks
I want to get into Hoffa a little bit in the near future. interesting,
Oh,
obviously,
wow.
and with the local tie-in, well, obviously,
Of course.
it's huge, but the recent death of the reported mob bosses, the Toko,
Yeah.
died a couple weeks ago, and that may have put the whole issue to bed because he might have been the last guy who really knew. But we can
you're
get into
right,
that.
dude, on this, by the way.
Izzo and Hoffa.
And you're right. When I look at pictures that are a little older, I mean, it's no big deal not to make fun of Izzo. We all tend to get, you get older, you get a little bigger,
Yeah, as he fills out, right?
Right. You can look at a picture that's more recent, and then I'm looking at a picture of Jimmy Hoffa. I mean, it's not dead on, but
he's getting there, right?
Actually, honestly, I just found one that I feel is dead on. If you look at here, if you look at this one of Izzo, that one right there, and then sorry about that.
Jeez, this is high tech here.
And this one of Hoffa, the far right one.
Yeah,
that's almost dead on.
Yeah, it's close, man. Good. I'm glad you agree with me, and I'm glad you agree with me on this too. My dick sweat proclamation that I made the other day. Right?
Yes, I told you that yesterday.
The dick itself does not sweat.
Yes, we all know the balls, of course, and all that stuff.
Of course,
but the
that's
shaft.
The shaft does not sweat.
No.
The head, the shaft, whatever.
Right.
Anything above the balls, it doesn't sweat.
No, you're right.
And is this across the board?
I don't know, but you mentioned it, and then I wanted to confirm it. So the last 2 days, and now 3 days running, I have checked, and you're right on the shaft. As if people want to hear me talking about my shaft. But,
no, man.
But you're right. No sweat.
Go for a long run. Do a hard workout this weekend. Whatever. Get the sweat going. Take off your drawers. I guarantee you, there's gonna be.
I like how you describe it. There's that dry spot.
There's gonna be a dry mark. There is a dry, and I'm on to something, man. And I think, can we parlay this into something medically? Can we remove cadaver dick skin? And like chicks don't like to sweat, put it under their armpits or something.
Skin grafting dick skin.
Yes. We're on to something, man. I discovered it. Yes, it's science. It's very borderline science. It's mine, everybody out there. Don't try to take it.
Patent pending.
Grafting dick skin is all mine, all right?
Oh, I see.
Yeah.
You've had two things today. You're talking about pedophiles can't getting that off, and you had two things that could very easily be drops. That would just be you talking about grafting dick skin is all yours, and
it's all mine.
Hard to get pedophiles off.
You're gonna have a catchy hook, like like no sweat off my ass. I'd be no sweat off my dick or something,
Right.
like literally something like that.
I'm telling you could market it because chicks do not like to sweat. So
No, they don't.
This could work.
And it's gross when they do. I think we can all agree on that.
Shirtless running guy. This sort of is along the same lines.
It's not another guy running.
Well, interestingly, we told the story of Mike yesterday, as told by his brother Mark.
That's the businessman.
Mark wrote in with an awesome story about his brother Mike, who had a trip down to Lakeland, Florida to see the Tigers. He wanted to go for a run. He asked the hotel workers, where can I run? They pointed him to this trail. He goes for a run, ends up mid-run taking his shirt off. He's hot, It's Florida, whatever. Well, after that, he starts to get chased by a guy wearing office clothes. There's just a random guy in the woods.
Right.
Finds out that it's a dude hookup area.
Don't you picture, I know I pictured even the briefcase, but maybe a guy literally just kind of sitting by the woods. What makes it is the business attire to me. It's not.
Well, what are you picturing? Are you picturing like business cash, or are you picturing more like what I'm wearing, kind of like
what you're wearing.
Slacks with the dress shirt?
Yeah, kind of what
not
you're
a tie,
wearing.
Right? He's
no,
not wearing
not a tie. But he definitely has a briefcase. Like I said yesterday, I like him having a briefcase.
Yeah, definitely no running type shoes.
No.
He's in loafers.
Gotta be loafers. And he's just kind of chilling there, kind of waiting for people to walk by.
He's kind of looking around trees, like.
Yeah, maybe peering.
There's one. There's one.
From a palm tree, peering out from a palm tree.
Yep. And then Mike wanders up.
Well, as we know,
the
again,
unknowing Mike wanders up, takes off his shirt, and off his.
And this guy must just get. Oh God.
Oh my God.
Maybe it was a shirt. Maybe that was the mistake. Taking off that shirt.
Maybe that's some sort of signal there.
Yeah, you're right. They run.
Yeah, I'll come in and I'll take off my shirt, and that means that means chase me down, right? Chase me down and fuck me in the ass. Well, Mike didn't know,
right?
And so he goes, wow, there's this guy following me, and he starts running.
Yeah.
And eventually they go to a full sprint. Mike has to go into a full sprint to ditch office guy.
I'm telling you, in my mind, he's still carrying that briefcase, though. He's just that briefcase in hand.
So the newsworthy part about the email today, I guess, is we got a confirmation from Mike. Mike chimed in and said, "Yeah, my brother was right on." He added a few more details, but yeah, he confirmed that in fact happened.
Wow.
Just chilling. Here's another good one, man. And this is something that I'm sure everybody can relate to. Chris writes in, I was just curious how Jay, being an attorney, feels about the Bernstein family. Like I said, we can all relate, right?
That is an interesting question.
We brought it up a little bit earlier about the superimposed Bernstein ads on the back of the hockey.
Oh, yeah. Right.
So they've sort of infiltrated our lives a little bit, haven't they?
Oh, yeah.
Over the last few years.
Dude, they've been around so long that I even remember when I was a kid picking up payphones and kind of that joke. Like, we'd be by a payphone and be like, 1-800-BERT, and when they'd pick up, you kind of say something ridiculous, like, I got something stuck in my butt, and then you're like, or whatever.
Yeah, absolutely. He's been, Sam Bernstein. Call Sam. Lee Steinberg.
Call Lee Free.
Yeah, there were just a few of them.
Goodman Acker is a big one now. Because they got William Shatner. You haven't seen those commercials, have you? William Shatner's front and form. He's like, Goodman Acker. He'll give you the money,
Sweet. So anyway, Chris goes on. I was just curious how Jay, being an attorney, feels about the Bernstein family. My brother is an attorney, and he says they are nothing more than pimps. Again, this is from Chris. They never work a case. They just have an assload of lawyers working for them, and they pawn off all cases to them while they get their pimp cut. I think what he's sort of describing is partners in a law firm, actually. And fuck their no-fee guarantee. He's right on this one. Fuck their no-fee guarantee. No lawyer charges if they don't recover. They make it sound like they invented this shit. He's right from the plaintiff perspective.
Okay.
Again, my experience was on the defense side where we charge an hourly rate to corporate clients, essentially.
Gotcha.
But on the plaintiff side, the way they get their cases is a lot of these people with claims, they don't have the money to pay hourly. And so a firm like this will say, look, we'll take 33 1/3 of whatever we recover for you. So we could hit, for
that's been around.
We could hit for $8 million, we could get $1,000, we get 33 1/3, no matter how much time we put into it.
Gotcha.
It's been around forever.
Gotcha.
It is absolutely, everybody does it. So Chris, your frustration with that is right. But Chris goes on. He gets a little personal.
Ah, boy. Here we go.
I've got to say. But I think I'm reading this because I think a lot of our listeners probably can, maybe see where he's coming from here. The reason I ask is I love the Tigers, but now I'm forced not to watch their games on TV anymore because I'm sick of their stupid ass commercials. Says they sit there and suck each other's dicks. Oh boy, this is where he gets rough.
Yeah.
While the retarded one stares at the wall.
Boy.
Yes, I know he's blind, but he looks like a fucking tard, Chris says. And the Mongoloid sister drools while looking like Andre the Giant's offspring. This is Chris saying this.
Whoa.
Can I sue them for destroying my Tiger baseball and getting me ill when I see their ugly mugs every 2 seconds? Thanks and keep up the great job. Eric can suck my rusty sheriff's badge. Chris. Yeah.
I'm going to leave you to that one almost because I don't really want to...
Know this. The blind Bernstein, his name is Dick Bernstein.
Okay.
Dick Bernstein just announced his candidacy to the Michigan Supreme Court.
I did see that.
So he will be running for the Michigan Supreme Court, so keep that in mind, everybody.
Is he... I mean, he's just as qualified, right? It just happens to be... maybe I should... I don't want to... You know what? I'm sorry. I don't want to... But you know what? Take that back. Forget it.
No, he's. I'll comment more when we get toward election time.
Okay.
Maybe give some people some suggestions because I know that a lot of people and family calls me like crazy. Like, what judges are what?
Right.
When you get to the judge section of the ballot, it's like that's why so many Irish judges get elected because you're just like Mulcahy,
Really.
Sullivan. That sounds like a judge's name, and they just name recognition is everything, and that, by the way, is what Bernstein is counting on, everybody. So
of course.
Just know that Dick Bernstein is counting on the name recognition. But like I say, as we get closer, I'll throw some names out there if people want to know.
Fair enough.
All right, final email comes in from Tony.
Tony. I just like saying that with Tony.
Tony. Hey guys, enjoy the show tons. Look forward to it daily. Turned all my friends on to it too. That's awesome.
Thank you.
Thank you, Tony. That's awesome. Eric may be one of the 7 wonders of the world. The guy always talks about and judges everything in life about getting laid.
It's high on my mind. It's high on my list of priorities. No question about it.
However, he rarely showers and shows piss poor hygiene. It's a real shocker that he's 30 and still single. Get it together, Pigpen.
Dude, okay, I'm going to come to my defense a little bit here. For one, I would obviously shower if I started to be in situation, and I always shower when I'm going to go out if I ever
We've
any
talked
prospect.
about this, dude. You never know. You could be
That's true.
stopping at the gas station.
I will give you that. But I'm not going to go too into my life story here, but there's a lot of reasons that I'm also single in the sense that, not that I've had no chances or I probably couldn't push for something, but the problem is I've really tried to leave a lot, and then it's like, I'm going, oh, he's just saying this. But I've left a lot of options open in the sense that I've had a job that I've known that until I feel comfortable enough where I'm making some all right money, I feel weird because I think most girls, I get weird because I feel like I'm going to tell them, like, oh, yeah, we can go start going on dates, but by the way, I might be looking for jobs out of state and I'm sending out stuff right now. You know what I mean? And I know whatever, but,
yeah.
But I'm just saying it's something I've always been, radio has always been such my passion, and I've just been worried about, I know it sounds like, tying me down, but...
Dude, I think that's awesome that you've identified something that you love to do and you want to do and you're going for it.
And the thing is, I want to have a relationship. I talked about my sister the other day. I definitely would love to be maybe married someday, love to have a kid, but I don't want to do it. I just know myself, I won't be happy until I'm kind of in a mood where I can do it, and it won't be fair to somebody else that if I did that and then put that on them.
Yeah, I think some people, they just sort of
And I know
feel
he was
like
being
it's-
lighthearted, and it's no big deal. There's a lot of reasons I'm single, trust me. That's not the only reason. I've gone after girls and got rejected many a times.
Yeah, no, I think there's something to be said, though, for going after your dreamy, and I admire that. And it's also something to be said for not just kind of fitting that cookie-cutter kind of, everybody after high school, they go to college, and then they,
Right.
hook up with somebody and get married, and then you have a bunch of kids. And
well, I mean...
So, dude, follow your path,
Well,
man.
and like
Everybody's
I said,
got a path.
And like I said, it's just one of those things where I just don't feel, in a sense, I don't feel right to somebody else. And I'm not good at lying to girls. I'm not good at, joking aside, if I was ever going to be in a relationship, I would not want to just tell some girl what she wanted to hear, and then 8 months down the line go, oh, by the way, now I'm moving to Indiana because by the way, radio's my thing, and I want to, and I'm not going to be here forever.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah. So here we go with Big E again for the second day in the row. Opening
I
his
know,
soul.
my God, I'm going to pay for it.
Dude,
I'm sure.
you know what you're doing is you're spoiling the drunk show.
I know.
Which we've locked down.
What you'd like to mention?
Forevermore.
It's one of those things now, since you mention it, break reference to it a lot. I really, and Walters always has a big high vision for how things could end up if it really, really got going. And I do love those. I'm a nerd. Like, I'm a nerd of The Simpsons. I'm a nerd of things like that. And I'm always a nerd when there's, like, little things that get alluded to and you almost have to kind of find.
You'd love to unlock it down the line, you mean?
Like an egg.
Yeah.
Like an egg. What do you call
An
those?
Easter
An Easter
egg,
egg in
yeah.
a video or something. Like,
Yeah.
maybe one day we'll throw it in, like,
Oh
in
my God.
a Twitter thing or something.
Ugh, that would be... You sure you want us to do that, E?
Well, I haven't heard it all yet, to be fair. I have not heard it all, so maybe not. It sounds like there's been a few things you referred to that maybe I don't want people to know. Maybe I got a little emo.
Yeah. Shit.
You know what, guys? I fucking love you. I know I make a lot of jokes.
Yeah, it was something. No, just finishing up Tony's email, though. She says, or he, get it together, Pigpen. However, he's Big E. He seems like a great guy, like all four of you guys do. Keep up the great work. And again, thank God we live in this country after these horrible stories we hear every day. Perspective, my new word to live by.
I agree on that.
Bam.
For sure, Tony, on that. And
For sure.
One tagline to that when he says, just sorry to do that, one more tagline. What was he saying about me with a single? And,
Said you have piss poor hygiene.
Yep.
It's a real shocker that you're 30 and still single. Get it together, Pigpen.
Yeah, there was one more thing I was gonna
Talks about and judges everything in life about getting laid.
Yeah, I don't remember what it was going to be. It was one more thing about girls that I was going to... I think that, him saying that I kind of tend to be a generally nice guy, probably in reality,
Mhm.
that really does hurt me, I think. With joking aside, I just tend to be, I am who I am. Not saying that, like I said, if I go out with a girl to dinner, of course I don't sit there and make penis strokes at dinner. But if I'm at a party or at a gathering where there's girls, like I talk to them, but I don't play those games of being the macho guy. Or
Yeah.
I'll make jokes, I have fun, and kind of my thought process. I don't want to end up with someone. We don't talk about your wife that often, but I've had a few conversations with you, and you legitimately really, like, you have told me that your wife is your best friend, and
I dig my wife.
I won't settle for less than that. I will say that. If I do get married, I don't know if I will, but if I do, it's going to be the right person. It's going to be somebody that can kind of take me for me.
Yep, you got it, buddy.
So
You got it.
a little corny, but for a
Very
Friday
corny.
afternoon.
Very corny way to end our week away from Mike.
Yes.
We should have ended it like, frickin' lighting your nuts on fire or something, but
You
we
can
end it
watch
with,
that
with E
somewhere
opening his soul and talking about chicks.
Thank God our cult leader's coming back.
He is. He'll be back Monday. I'm looking forward to it. I know everybody else
So
is.
am I. Dude, I know people think if you whine, not whine, but if you say like it's a lot harder, like, oh, how hard can it be? But dude, for me personally, and like we all moved up a step, and it's a lot more work when you don't have. Walters really drives this thing, and a lot of times when I come in, I just know I have to have a few stories or a few little things to do, and
yeah,
I'm looking forward to being a little more lazy.
I don't know, Eric. Maybe because I don't know if you're aware, Mike did send us a little audio clip here.
Uh-oh.
So
I'm going to use you two guys to do my dirty work for me.
Oh. Yeah, I don't blame him.
Carl.
Right.
No, but it was a pleasure to help his family out, and we're glad that he could get away like he did. So
yeah, we're one big team, right?
We're one big team. All right, we'll see everybody Wednesday. Thanks a lot, and don't forget to go. We'll see everybody Monday. Don't forget to go to our Facebook page, like us, go to our website, donate if you find it in your heart. Send us an email. We read them all, and just have a great weekend, everybody. We'll see you Monday.
You've been listening to the Detroit Cast with your hosts, Mike and Jay. From all of us at Radio for One Studios, thank you for listening, and as always, thank you, Detroit.
Listen to God, watch you grow. You know not what remains that love. All your stuff.